Your prayers at midnight feel empty. You kneel, you cry, you plead, and still nothing changes. The silence isn't quiet. It's heavy. It's deliberate. You've read the promises. You've fasted. You've worshipped. But the breakthrough never comes. You wonder if God has turned away, if your faith is too weak, if you're not holy enough. Stay with me. This truth may change how you pray at midnight forever. I was assigned to the Black Veil Coven in Kumasi, not by choice but by blood. My grandmother was the last high priestess of the Obokwaku lineage. She didn't teach me spells. She taught me silence. For 12 years, I served as the midnight watcher, the one who monitored the prayer rhythms of Christians in the Eastern and Ashanti regions. I didn't wear robes or chant in tongues. I sat in dark rooms with old radios, tuned to frequencies only the dead could hear. We didn't need to see you. We just needed to know when you'd kneel. In our system, prayer was not worship. It was a signal, and every signal could be intercepted. There are 3 spiritual laws they use to silence midnight prayer. Not myths, not metaphors. Operational laws, written in blood, timed in minutes, anchored in location. One of them is so precise, so calculated, it doesn't just block your prayer, it replays it back to you as a whisper in the dark. This one will shock you. Isaiah 59 verse 2 says that, "But your iniquities have separated you from your God. Your sins have hidden his face from you, so that he will not hear." This is not a metaphor. It is a spiritual mechanism. In the coven, we called it Intoma Ache, the door that won't open. When a believer prayed at midnight, we scanned their spiritual field for unconfessed sin, not to condemn, but to map. A hidden affair, a stolen payment, a lie told to protect reputation. In Kumasi, a woman prayed every night for her husband's business to thrive. She gave tithes, she sang in choir, but she had accepted 20,000 cedis from a fetish priest to bless her fabric store. A payment made in secret with a vow of silence. That night, we burnt a dried snake skin at 3:17 a.m., the exact hour she prayed. The skin was dipped in the ink of her confession, taken from a counselor's notes she never knew were recorded. The smoke carried her guilt into the spiritual boundary layer, a spiritual lock. Her prayers didn't stop. They just stopped being heard. In Enugu, a young man fasted for healing, but kept a pornographic app hidden on his phone. We used his search history. We timed our ritual to his nightly scrolling. At 1:43 a.m., we placed a mirror facing his window, etched with his own sin. The mirror reflected his prayer back to him, not as truth, but as shame. He stopped praying after 7 nights. Your prayers weren't weak, they were blocked. I share this not to frighten you, but to equip you. If you pray at midnight and feel nothing, check your heart before you kneel. Before you bow, speak aloud any sin you've hidden, no matter how small. Say it, not to a person, to God. Then write it on a piece of paper. Burn it. Let the smoke rise where your prayer must go. Do not wait for feeling. Do not wait for peace. Just do it. This breaks the first law because the lock requires secrecy to hold. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 says that for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. They don't need to attack your prayer, they just need to listen to it. In our coven, we called it Asomdiansromo, the echo that learns your voice. We didn't use candles or goats, we used your phone. A university student in Cape Coast prayed every night for deliverance from nightmares. She had no ties to the occult, but she left her phone charging beside her bed and spoke her prayers out loud in the dark. We captured those voice notes, not by hacking, by proximity. In Ho, an apprentice witch doctor trained for 3 months to replicate a believer's prayer tone, pitch, rhythm, and breath pauses. He recorded her saying, "Lord, break every chain." Then at 2:15 a.m., he played it back, not through speakers, but through a copper wire tied to her window frame. The entity didn't roar, it whispered in her voice, saying, "He's not listening, why keep trying?" She began doubting her own prayers.
She thought she was losing her mind. In Sunyani, a mother prayed for her son's academic breakthrough. Her WhatsApp voice messages, sent to friends at midnight, were harvested by a spirit worker who lived 3 streets away. They used her tone to summon a Coco Ben, a shadow that mimics the voice of the one you love most. It whispered to her son in his dreams, "Your mother's prayers are useless. She doesn't even believe them herself." Your prayers weren't weak. They were monitored. I shared this not to frighten you, but to equip you. If you pray aloud at night, especially in your room, stop using your phone near you after 10 p.m. Turn it off, or place it inside a sealed glass jar. Metal blocks signal, glass blocks spiritual resonance. Do not let your voice be recorded, not by man, not by spirit. Your prayer is not a broadcast, it is a covenant whispered between you and the Father. Silence your devices, then speak to Him as if no one else is listening, because they are. Matthew 6:6 says, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen." They don't just block your prayer, they bind it to a clock. Midnight is not chosen randomly, it is targeted. A deacon in Benin City prayed every night at 12:03 a.m. for his son's healing. The boy had epilepsy. The prayers were fervent, scriptural, consistent. But we had already consecrated the crossroads near the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. On the night the boy first convulsed, a witch priest collected his urine-soaked cloth. They soaked a goat's ear in it. Every midnight, they placed it at the eastern fork where 3 paths meet. The ritual was simple. When the goat died, the child's healing would die with it. In Takoradi, the goat was bound for 3 nights. On the 3rd night, it collapsed at 3:02 a.m. He prayed at midnight. The fever broke for 3 nights. On the 4th, the nurse came in at 3:03 a.m. and said, "He's worse than before." The real weapon wasn't the object, it was the timing. Your prayers weren't weak, they were rerouted. I shared this not to frighten you, but to equip you. If your prayers are consistently blocked at the same hour, break the cycle before it begins. Pray 30 minutes earlier than your usual time, not because God needs to be rushed, but because the enemy works on shadows. If you always pray at 12:03 a.m., pray at 11:33 p.m. If you always pray at 1:15 a.m., pray at 12:45 p.m. Shift the hour, change the rhythm, break the pattern they've mapped. They cannot bind what you refuse to repeat. Your prayer is not a ritual, it is a rebellion. And rebellion moves in unexpected times. Someone you know is praying at midnight and getting no answer right now. Share this. They think they are failing. They think God is distant. They don't know their prayers were intercepted, not ignored. Comment blocked no more if you are applying this tonight. This is exposed by an insider, where hidden things are exposed for your freedom.